Maybe I'll start spontaneously with what Rita just said. In the faculties of social studies and culture studies and political studies, they give us a sense that being owning two cultures. My father and mother, my whole extended family has immigrated from Iran, and I was born in Israel. So actually, they're immigrants. There being new immigrants in Israel, and me being the first Sabra to be born here made me a daily immigrant. I was traveling daily from my Iranian house to the Israeli society and back. So they did it once, had left their roots, left Tehran once, and rerouted in Israel. But as children, to be born to new immigrants, we are agents, constant agents of this global movement. And as I said, in the academy, they make you feel privileged or maybe lucky to have this hybrid identity. But let's say I would replace it with one that I feel belong to and happy with. And maybe they give us the sense of being enriched by owning two perspectives. But I would happily give it back and be rid of my ambivalence, non-stop ambivalence that I share with my colleagues here, that we always keep on looking at things with double views. We always have this torn attitude towards everything that we step into. So I would be very much I would prefer much more to have one culture that I own and to feel belong to. Because in every room, I would have this ambivalence that I can get rid of. In a room full of Persians, I feel Iranian, I feel Israeli. And in a room full of Israelis, I always have this Iranian perspective that I carry out. And you know what? I think that my Hebrew was the key to knock that, in a way to get out of this maybe doomed destiny. Because the Hebrew that I owned in a very young age had given me maybe, there's a famous phrase, I'll start with the Hebrew. יותר מאשר עם ישראל שמר על השבת בגולה, השבת שמרה עליו. More than the Israelis, the Hebrew, the Jews abroad kept Shabbat, Shabbat kept them. I can rephrase it and say that Hebrew, the more I kept the Hebrew to be elaborated and fluent and high-browed, the more I owned it by its precise, let's say, PR. Is it okay to use it in Hebrew? A PR Hebrew. The more I was accepted in the Israeli society, and the more I was freed from my immediate identity. In Hebrew, if you take out a point out of a letter, it can mark down, if you know how to pronounce it in a very well way, or in a more casual way. So if I take the dagesh out of the bet, before I say bechol izdamnut, and not bekol izdamnut, the other person on the other side can sense that I know it very well. And in a way, I use this key to open doors, because I had the Hebrew to allow me in, but in the front door, not in the backstage. So, in a way, I'm grateful for the Hebrew, because this is the language. I told the story of my grandma. I, at the age of 21, wrote a first novel telling the story of my grandma being born in Isfahan, and carried out her story by my Hebrew. So, in a way, it's a Persian story taking place in Iran during the 20s, telling her private, intimate memory, but in my elaborated Hebrew. And that has opened the door for me into the heart of Israeliness. And later on, it was enough detailed, enough precise, enough private, you may say. Because there's a famous phrase saying, the more private you go, the more universal you get. So this is exactly what Rita did in her album, and this is the more detailed, this intimate, private history book that I wrote, the more further it reached. Because it was, you know, you can't blame the Dutch lady or the Korean lady, or let's say the other languages that my books were translated. You cannot accept them to like or not like it because, I don't know, biography or circumstances. It's only the story that was heartfelt. So my grandma gave me not only the subject, not only her memory, but she was my muse. And I can just say, again, referring to this man, wrote to Rita that he would rather be in prison being slapped. This is the
70 whiplashes.
This is a very Iranian quality, to exaggerate.
Yeah, they're very dramatic.
We may say, yeah. My grandma told me I was telling you stories in the sides of mice, and you wrote down them into this, you mixed them with so much imagination in order to create your fiction that you tell them about elephants and they believe you. This was, she was amazed by the idea that they believe me. My readers, they don't suspect me for being a big liar, as I am, as she says, as fiction is, if I mark, there is a contract at the beginning of every novel, of every book, that we readers signed it. When we open a book, when we continue reading it, it says, I'm going to tell you a bunch of lies that is mixed with seeds of truth, but it's so fictionary and it will be done so detailed that you're going to believe in it, that you're going to read the life of strangers, you're going to trust it is true, you're going to feel, you're going to cry, you're going to laugh, you're going to sustain your own life. That maybe there's going to be a dinner that you're going to need to fix, maybe there's going to be a phone that's ringing, but you're going to sustain it because the life that I'm creating for you, that I'm writing for you, would be so vivid and so convincing that you're going to let go the fact that it's all based on lies. So this is the contract that my grandma was kept on amazed by the fact that fiction is being believed when it's based on her memory. I trust you all know it. Thank you.
Dorit, in a way, you have said in a very eloquent way what I tried to say at the beginning, what I called eccentricity of creative personalities from this part of the world. You described as schizophrenia, and it's funny because you referred to it both as a burden and as a privilege. In my view, being an outsider from another planet, I see these as the qualities that make it possible here to produce a kind of creative output that is both personal and local and also universal in the way that people respond to it. I just want to phrase one question to all of you so that we can then have time for one or two questions from the audience. And it is whether in creating the work that you have created, have you felt embraced first here and then out in the world, or first out in the world and then here? And when you do the kind of work that you do, and I've heard it differently phrased, are you conscious that you might be building bridges? Clearly Rita is. I'm not sure that Ron is.
One of the exhibits in the show in Cholon is a squashed police car that I found here, and I left all my records behind, but I took that piece back, took to London, I don't know why, I had a heavy suitcase and a piece of metal. And it's on display, it's one of the
Toy
world's-
police
A
car.
toy police car that I found, I saw like,
Wasn't it beeping in the airport?
it was, and they let me through. No, but the thing is that I didn't think about it, but I brought it back because maybe it's about what you're asking. Yes, I mean, I can't deny that I grew up here, developed here in this language, and I can't deny that I lived most of my life abroad. And there's always, the first years you work for your invisible judges that are left here. And it's like, I still, there's still friends, and there's still, the people I left in the art school here, they were my reference point more than the people that were near me as I was sort of developing. So, it's both, it's not one or the other.
Norman?
אני English, Arabic. No, I think art for me starts from pain. If you have pain, you can see what is it in my art. And it's all start here, where I born, where I grow up, where with my family, with my friends, my nature. This is from there, and then you make the bridge between people that you want to fix all these suffering, all these not equal. So in my way, I should be here and to make the change here before I go outside, make the change.
I suspect someone who says that he is conscious of building bridges while he works, because a good art work is dealing with pain, and it's something that you should let go of public. And even those judges, I'm sure that you don't refer to while you work, because it's too intimate and it's too truthful to be able to have this dialogue with someone else's, except for you, yourself. There's an inner you that you address to, and this inner you is your partner, and you should eliminate the whole world. And if you take under consideration someone that you need to please, or someone that you want to make angry, then you would be phony.
Right.
To be authentic, to be truthful, you have to look into yourself. This is my view as a writer, and this is what we do daily, writers.
Right.
We use the screen of the computer as a mirror to be able to reflect ourselves. It's a very narcissistic kind of work, and we do it 6 to 8 hours a day, 5 days a week myself. So this is the only way you can focus on truth, and we deliver truth. Pain, joy, it all has to be vacuumed. If you think of this construction work of building bridges, it might intimidate truth.